never believed them. Legends about ghostly screams echoing through the dark passageway at midnight seemed like nothing more than the stuff of local lore. So when my friends dared me to walk through it alone, I accepted without hesitation. It was a warm summer night when I found myself standing at the entrance of the tunnel. The air was heavy with humidity, and the sounds of crickets and distant frogs filled the air. My friends stood a few yards back, their faces illuminated by the glow of their flashlights. They watched, eager to see if I would go through with it. "Come on, it's just a tunnel," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. Took a deep breath and stepped into the darkness. The tunnel was longer than I expected, and as soon as I entered, the temperature seemed to drop. The light from my friends' flashlights quickly faded behind me, leaving me in near complete darkness. I flipped on my own flashlight, and its beam cut through the black, revealing the rough, damp stone walls. The sound of my footsteps echoed eerily, each step bouncing back at me from the tunnel's depths. I kept walking, my heart beating faster with each step. The legend spoke of a girl who had died here, her spirit doomed to scream in eternal agony. As the story went, if you stood in the middle of the tunnel at midnight and lit a match, she would appear, screaming in torment. It was ridiculous, I told myself, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Halfway through, I stopped. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional drip of water from the ceiling. I glanced at my watch. It was almost midnight. Perfect timing, I thought wryly. Pulled out a match from my pocket and struck it against the wall. It flared to life, casting long shadows around me. For a moment, nothing happened. I laughed, feeling silly for ever believing the stories. But then, just as I was about to blow out the match, heard it. Low, mournful wail that started softly, growing louder and more anguished with each passing second. It echoed through the tunnel, surrounding me, making my skin crawl. Turned, my flashlight beam flailing wildly. The scream grew louder, almost unbearable, and the air grew colder still. The match flickered and died, plunging me into darkness. I fumbled with my flashlight, my hands trembling. When I finally managed to steady it, I saw her. At the far end of the tunnel, faint figure stood, bathed in a sickly, pale light. Her eyes were dark voids, her mouth open in a soundless scream that I could feel vibrating in my bones. She started to move toward me, gliding above the ground. I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over my own feet. The scream continued, louder and louder, filling my head, drowning out my thoughts. Turned and ran, not caring if my friends would call me a coward. I just had to get out. Bursting out of the tunnel, I fell to the ground, gasping for air. My friends rushed over, their laughter dying in their throats when they saw my face. I looked back at the tunnel entrance, expecting to see her standing there. But it was empty. I heard her, I whispered, still shaking. I saw her. They helped me to my feet, their faces pale. None of us said anything more. We just walked back to the car in silence, the screams still echoing in my ears. That night changed everything for me. I never went near the screaming tunnel again, and I never doubted the power of the stories we tell. Some places hold more than just history. They hold the echoes of pain and loss. And sometimes, those echoes reach out to remind us that they're still there, waiting in the dark.